A very warm welcome to you, and thank you for joining us on Health and Wellness. My name is Zaitun Ali. Thank you so much for making time for tuning in today. And our topic of discussion, we want to talk about maternal and mental health for the deaf especially. And right here in studio, I have two amazing ladies. I have Nancy Gave, who is a clinical psychologist. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Karibu. I also have Judy Kihumba. She is the founder, Talking Hands, Listening Eyes, and she's also a maternal mental health advocate. Karibu.
Thank you very much for having me.
I just want to start with you, Judy. Why the deaf?
Why the deaf?
Yes.
This is a question I get all the time because I am not deaf, and in my family we don't have a deaf person.
Yes.
But 90% of my friends are deaf people because I schooled in a school for the deaf. And you know, high school, you most of the times you maintain most of your high school friends. So all through I have been in the deaf world for quite some time now.
Okay.
So even after high school, I learned sign language, and all through I have been working around the deaf people.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So it's a calling, it's a purpose.
It is.
Okay.
It is. Yeah.
And Nancy, for you,
Yes.
how has it been working with the deaf especially?
Wow.
What called you to this purpose?
Thank you.
Yes.
It has been amazing. And being a mental health specialist, clinical psychologist, and being in this space, I've come to identify the needs of, mothers.
Yes.
But especially the deaf and the gaps that are existing currently, and they're not able to at some point access services just because we don't have enough healthcare providers who are able to support, to listen, and as well as to, be able to understand the language to provide the mental health services. So this comes in also with the needs that they go through, the challenges during this period. And I think it's very key and important to give it attention and a priority. Yeah. And that's why I have the passion for this.
Actually, we don't talk about it enough because we assume, especially for maternal health, we assume how do they even communicate when they get in labor? How do they even communicate with the doctor saying, I'm feeling pain here and here? And there was even a research that I saw, Rwanda actually are now teaching not even mental health, health practitioners, sign language to be able to now provide the services even for these mothers. And I saw in Kilifi, it's also coming along. The government also is working with health practitioners there to make it something really accessible to the deaf women. So probably talk to us about now how you started the foundation and how it has been working with the deaf moms in this journey.
I would start by saying that to go just a little bit back from where you said deafness is a silent disability. Yes. So it's very hard to identify a deaf person or to pick a deaf person in a crowd. And through this, before I went through my personal experience that I'm about to say, I didn't think it was a big thing. But around 2020, the COVID time, I had a small baby and I went through postpartum depression. And this is the time I realized, as my friends would visit me, I realized it was something that most of them were going through, but nobody had ever addressed this gap. So through that, I started supporting them. And you remember that time we had a close down of the whole country.
Yes.
So I gave myself, I said, if any deaf mom is expectant or needs to go to the hospital, remember that time there was very few limited movements. If any deaf mom needs to go to the hospital or if they're at home, because most of them are staying alone, I'll be there. And that's how I started going, visiting them, walking with them. And because then there was no... the work wasn't as much because many offices had closed down. So I started through experience getting the information, learning to know what they go through. And after the country opened down, then I brought them together. We started like an association of deaf moms who have gone through postpartum depression, those who have gone through very painful experiences during labor and during the pregnancy time. That's how we we started getting now more information, and I realized it is a need, and that's how Talking Hands, Listening Eyes was born.
Yeah, and you had learnt sign language before this, back in
I learned sign language from high school.
Okay.
I went to Reverend Mohoro School for the Deaf, so all through for the 4 years I was there, I learned sign language. But even after high school, I also advanced my sign language, and that's how now I have been fluent in the sign language.
Yeah. And I was asking you if you can talk and still do sign language at the same time. You're telling me these are two different languages.
They are two different languages. Yes, I can, but it is a bit slow. I may be a bit slow if I am signing and talking at the same time. But yes, it is possible.
It is possible.
Yes.
Okay. Probably paint to us a picture of how the life of a deaf mom, especially during prepartum and postpartum, how is it for them?
It's a challenge because most of the moms, and I say this from, especially when the pregnancy is a bit young, before they go to the hospital and maybe the doctor, they present symptoms maybe of malaria or any other disease. Most of the times, if the doctor is not keen enough to maybe to test them and to check whether they're pregnant, you find they're given the wrong medication. So majority of them go through miscarriages, especially the very early ages or the early stages of pregnancy. And this time I have worked with quite a number who have lost pregnancies, not because they lost it because of medication. And then I realized also, even as they go to the hospital, most of the times pregnancy is not their first test. They go with other symptoms, and they will say of many other things. Sometimes they even self-medicate themselves before they go to the hospital. So by the time they're going to the hospital, it's already a danger for them. And because of communication barriers, I would say that even when they go to the hospital, even when the doctors know they're pregnant, yes, and you can even see the pregnancy, most of the times the miscommunication, maybe they go with a different symptom, or they're explaining to the doctor this, and the doctor is understanding a different thing. So you realize that they don't get the right information. I have seen even where we have interpreters, yes, sometimes they go with an interpreter, but unless they understand each other, and sometimes the doctors want to address the interpreter, not the deaf person. So like if she was deaf and you're here, you are the doctor, and you're telling me, tell her, ask her, instead of address her directly, so that you can even see the facial expression. Maybe she's in pain, but if I'm the one explaining, I will not say everything that you even need to see on a facial expression. So most of the times they feel like they're left out. I have a case where around that COVID time, I had a deaf girl who made me now think very seriously about the deaf moms, that because she's an orphan, and she was staying alone. When she realized she was pregnant, she told her friends, and because she didn't want the pregnancy, the friends advised her, you can take very conk tea leaves every day, so that the pregnancy will come out. But in the real sense, she didn't know that the pregnancy was still growing. So when she got into labor, to her, it was the pregnancy coming out. She was not ready. For the 9 months she stayed in that period, she never went to any clinic. She never went to the hospital at all. She gave birth, yes. But she gave birth, by the time she was giving birth, she went to the hospital because she knew the baby is coming out. But to her, it was not, the baby was not there. You know, she thought it's a miscarriage, or, you know, it was more of an abortion, kind of. And after she gave birth, again, it was another journey for her, even to learn, even to love the baby, to understand now, because she's like going back. She, you know, through the pregnancy, she never went to the hospital. Now she has to go to the hospital every day. So there was a lot of information she didn't have. Coming out of the hospital, going back home, she was staying with the neighbors who thought, I don't know, they had never interacted with a deaf person or what was happening. And through that time, instead, when the baby would cry, remember there's a new mom who is going through a lot of mental stress. Remember, she never wanted the baby. The baby has come. The baby is here, and she's an orphan. She has no mother to call or anybody to call and come and help her. So when the baby would cry, remember this baby would cry, and she can't hear the baby crying. Maybe she's, you know, the new moms, the way you fall asleep most of the times and you forget the baby is there. So the baby would cry. The neighbors, instead of maybe opening the door or checking on her in a different way, they would her house was a mabati house. They would throw stones on top of her rooftop. What was happening? They were affecting the baby. The baby got traumatized. So the baby would never sleep. And there's a new mom here alone. You can imagine. It happened one time when I was in her house. That's when I realized, no wonder she keeps telling me the baby is always panicking, and she never knew why the baby was ever scared. So that was the reason. So you can see even the community around her, the community around the deaf people don't understand the deaf moms. Even those who stay with their parents, those who stay maybe with their relatives, very few families know sign language. You can imagine if you live within your community, even your siblings, you have a language you talk maybe around home where an outsider may not understand. You can imagine these people are always outsiders in their own, they're strangers in their own families because they don't understand each other. So they go through a lot. Even when you'd want to ask questions about the baby or what you're going through, they would not be able to. Reason being, there's no communication happening.
And talking about mental health, Nancy, what are those unique challenges that they face through in terms of mental health?
Thank you. Yeah, so from Judy's story and from what she's really clearly articulated is the fact that there's a lot of fear that the prenatal deaf moms go through during this period. One, there's a lot of isolation. This is because there's no proper communication. People cannot understand them. And let's look at a case scenario where a mom has become pregnant, maybe due to rape or out of marriage or any other way. And they cannot totally understand what they are going through. So you find they tend to isolate because there's no one to understand them. Maybe there's no one to interpret for them or to the other community. And they find themselves all alone. And this brings an aspect of helplessness, hopelessness, and to some point, if not well handled or without that support system, may end up affecting them into depression and a lot of anxiety. It comes in as well as when they go to like what Judy has explained, when they go to the facility, and unfortunately maybe most of our facilities right now at the community level, you may find maybe there's no a healthcare provider who can interpret. So before they get to understand exactly what is happening, they end up going through a lot of anxiety. They are anxious. They lack information because you find information in terms interpreted information in relation to their well-being, wellness of the baby and themselves may not be available for them. So you find lack of information also may affect them mentally because there's a lot that is happening. They are adjusting, with this pregnancy, changes of hormones and all that affects emotionally, physically, psychologically. They may not know what to expect. But when, so this brings a lot of anxiety because they don't know what to expect. So in this case, we say the aspect of loneliness, like I said, feeling helpless, hopelessness at times, and lack of information, and then access to services. Sometimes, especially you look into most of our healthcare facilities where they are at the community level, you find some maybe come from far. So that access to, the facility on time may be a gap. Maybe they want to go to the facility because they're not okay. But before they get someone to communicate to the person that they would wish them to take them to the facility, may take a while. So you find that their well-being themselves, they're not even sure how to go around through the journey. And in the process, unfortunately, when cases of miscarriage happen, and, they go through a lot of grief that someone may not understand, and they may lack information in terms of someone to support them. And like what she says, when you go to the facility, let's assume they have come in for therapy.
Yes.
I have to have an interpreter to interpret to them, for them to go through therapy. But what does that mean? It means that the confidentiality aspect of it, first of all, it's broken because someone has to exactly understand their story to interpret to the therapist for them to Yeah, but at least nowadays we have therapists who are already doing the language interpretation, and they are able to understand the language, and they can provide the services. That's the best thing, is that we are now getting into this space, and we are able now to support them and ensure their well-being is well taken care of. And that's why we are here, ensuring their wellness and championing their mental well-being. And there's an aspect of a transition too. You see, those who are at work, when they get to now go back to work in a new transition of being a mom, and, you know, adjusting into the new space also may affect their well-being. If there is no support, both from work and at home, now you can imagine what that means to them. And that's why we greatly come in and ensuring also their wellness, even at the workplace. Because also being a clinical psychologist and support under Top Wellness Africa, we'll also look at, together with her, THLEP, looking into the deaf wellness even when they transition back to work after delivery. Yes.
What kind of challenges do they go through, aside from the anxiety, you're saying depression? What other mental challenges do they go through?
Yeah, so you find that most cases after delivery, the challenges, individuals, environmental challenges, some experience postpartum depression, and there's also the preterm pre-antenatal depression, and this may extend, some may experience it after delivery. And some cases you may find some go into what we say it's postpartum psychosis. So all this that affects their well-being. And you find that because they don't have information and no one is understanding exactly what they are going through, because they are unable to communicate, people may not take it in they may not exactly know how to support. Maybe the environment, the people around, the friends, the support system. So I know we're still trying to advocate more and ensuring that people are given the support during this period, which is very essential. Then there is an aspect of relationships. You find when they transition into the new role as a mother, you find sometimes there are issues, conflicts, that may result to GBV issues, maybe between the spouse or herself and the spouse, or even within the family setup. So you find that some of them experience such kind of setup, where instead of receiving and getting support, instead it's continuous psychological distress due to the pressures and conflicts that they may be experiencing during this period. So even preparedness in the aspect of preparing for the new transition, the new role as a mom, they may not get that appropriate support. And what does this mean? It means a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, withdrawing, and and they may lack that attachment even with the baby because of the continuous pressures and stress that they may be experiencing during this period. And that connection, that the mom and child's connection that maybe even didn't develop during a pregnancy period may affect her even after delivery. So you find most cases, maybe we find some may miss even to breastfeed the baby. They may not want even anything to do with the baby. They abandon the baby. And all this, that's what you're calling or talk about the postpartum depression.
That is well put, Dr. And Judy, I don't know, how do they portray probably these symptoms when they come to you seeking for help? How do they come to you? What do they need in terms of support? And how do you help as an organization as well?
I would say, first, they may not really come like I need help. They come with expressing, I'm so stressed. My sister doesn't understand me. My husband doesn't understand me. My family doesn't understand me. I feel I don't want the baby. I feel I want to be away from people. Sometimes it's me who even will reach out, because I've seen this deaf mom was very active before, then all of a sudden they withdraw. Sometimes I follow them to their houses, or even after birth, after delivery, just to check on them. Most of the times it's checking on them to see whether they are getting it right, because the African setup is, anytime from the time Kitambo that any mom would give birth, moms or women around them would come to check on them for support or anything. So most of the times that's how we do it. And I have a team of deaf leaders, deaf moms who have already gone through training, and they're able to check on these moms, and they're able to walk the journey with them. So if there is a challenge, we are able to tell. When you visit a mom who is going through this stress, you can be able to tell even before they tell you. And through that, we work with them with the journey, and of course together with the mental health experts and the doctors, and we try to get the root cause. Most of the times we want to get to the root cause, because majority of the women I work with, I would say, are not the high-end life women. A mom who can be able to afford a nanny, a mom who can be able to afford a sign language interpreter, I need to go to the hospital, or a mom who can be able to be in a very good setup. Most of them are, maybe before they got pregnant, maybe they're single moms. Some of them maybe have gone through rape. Some of them maybe, I was looking for meal for that day, and that's how I got pregnant. It's not, there was no attachment, and the baby is here again. So through that, you're able to first understand where they're coming from. When you know where they're coming from, you're able to know what are the struggles they're going through. We work with every deaf mom individually. Individually means their needs are very different. There's a mom who needs just support. There is another one who just needs, I need to know how to breastfeed. I need to know how to take care of my baby. I need to understand when my baby is sick what I need to do. That day I was telling her that I visited a deaf mom. The baby was 2 months old, less than 2 months. And when I went, I washed my hands, and she gave me the baby. You know, they give you with a cloth to cover yourself, then you pick the baby. But before she gave me the baby, she put salt on the cloth. And then I asked her, why? Thank you. Because to me, I was wondering, is it a ritual or what are you doing? Then she told me, because you know the way we sanitize our hands. So for her, if she puts salt on that cloth, if the baby removes her tongues, maybe licks the cloth, she will be sanitized. You know what? Really? She'll be clean. This baby is less than 2 months. And I was shocked. I asked, how did you know? She just thought because you use sanitizer. It is her own thinking. And thought, how do I keep my baby safe? You can imagine the amount of salt that baby has taken at that very young age. Lack of information. And I keep saying, if us hearing women, people who are educated, we have access to information, we have access to information around us, even to friends, I can come tell you this how I feel. Even if it was not really a consultation, and you tell me, I went through the same, this is what I did. Then before they express themselves that way, it takes forever. And most of the times they are getting, I would say, second, third information before they get the right information. And you see now the information breakdown, again, the gap. So their needs are in different levels, and I would say they manifest differently. You can notice a mom who needs more therapy than maybe clothes help or diaper help or any other support.
Yeah, that is true. And I know you've even talked about training. There are some that you train for them to create awareness and probably give information to the other moms. And we also have one of the deaf trainers who has joined you today. She'll be joining us after the break to talk about probably empowerment in terms. We are not even only looking at the health, but how are we also empowering them. We want to take a short commercial break, guys. We'll be back. Remember, the WhatsApp line is 0759-434389. In case you have a question to any of our experts right here in studio, please let us know. Even you can share your experience as a deaf mom out there, or even a hearing mom who knows about a deaf mom struggling. Please let us know on also our social media handles at Katie at Home and at Ali_Zaitun. Don't touch that dial. Don't touch that dial. Just joining us, remember this is Health and Wellness. My name is Zaitun Ali, and today we are talking about maternal and mental health for deaf moms. And joining me in studio, we still have Judy Kihumba, who is the founder of Talking Hands, Listening Eyes. We have Nancy Gathi, who is a clinical psychologist. And joining us is Lillian Atieno. She is a deaf empowerment trainer. And yeah, she is actually deaf. I know she can't hear me, but she's having an interpreter here. Judy is going to help her at least understand the conversation. She'll also tell us her story about, she's a mom, actually right now a grandmom. She has very, very big kids, you know, and she's going to tell us her experience of back then, how she accessed maternal health services as compared to now, how her children are experiencing it. So welcome back, and remember the SMS line, the WhatsApp line is 0759-434389. Send your feedback and we'll be here to sample it. So Judy, I want you to ask her about her experience giving birth during her time. What challenges did she go through? Yeah.
My name is Lillian Atieno.
Yeah.
My experience of I gave birth in the hospital, yes, but the time I was giving birth, them days, there were no interpreters. Even people who I would look for to help me sign for me, they were not there. But I went to the hospital, then I was married, but I thank God because my husband was very present. But it was more of a trial because there was nobody explaining to me or the struggles. There were very many challenges, but I kept trying. I kept trying and learning. Yeah, and also because I was still doing small businesses then, even after giving birth, it was a struggle on how to go about it, especially with a new baby. And I was doing necklaces and I was doing small businesses. Yeah, but I thank God because yes, it is challenging. Yes, it was challenging, but I have continued to be where I am today. Wow. And I'm also glad that when now I joined Talking Hands, when Judy recruited me to be training the deaf mothers, I have seen them grow strong. I have seen deaf empowered compared to my time. I have seen them being supported, and like we have trained them to make soap, to do different things, and things that they can help them to. Even when they have small babies, when they're going struggles, they can be able to do their own small businesses. So I would say there is more improvement compared to them days. Like now, even when they do the necklaces and the bangles and the many things they do, they can be able to sell and be able to support themselves. So I've been trying to tell the deaf people that it is not easy when you are alone, but when you work together, and when you have children there who need support, you need these small skills so that even you don't have to be employed to get a job. Sometimes they really struggle. Sometimes when I see them, some have children who are even chased from school because of school fees, and there's a new mom with a new baby. That means there are many struggles, but when they make the few things, the soap, the things they do that they can sell, and they can be able to empower themselves economically.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just more of to get a meal for that day. Then the few things they are doing is maybe to get a meal for that day, because sometimes they're not supported. Even if they're supported by their parents, it's not fully. Those who have parents, those who have people to support them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what I've gotten there is actually she had help. She had a support system. Yeah, and that is one amazing thing that she experienced at that time. Despite not having an interpreter to show her the way, and at least she had a support system. And talking about empowerment, and how she trains the deaf moms. How did this come about, Judy?
Sorry?
Yeah. So, is there any other information?
I was just explaining what you're asking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how did this now empowerment of the deaf women? How did it come about? And how does she train them? Yeah.
There was a project we had of empowerment in our church where we'd learn different soap making, we'd learn how to make beadwork, and we would learn even how to do cakes. Through that's where I learned, and I found it was a good thing. I realized that, it would help me because I would sell even to other people. Like I would sell even my soap and help me. And through that, I also I understood also the challenges we have gone through as a deaf person and the deaf I have lived with. So I know it is a struggle. That's how she thought of training them.
Okay. And how does she actually balance, what's it called, parenting, especially now, and the communication barrier? Because I understand she's deaf, but the kids are not. Yeah.
Yes, they're hearing.
They're hearing.
My firstborn understands sign language.
Okay.
But my secondborn tries a bit. So we do our homemade sign language. They're not so perfect, but we learn. I teach them the few that I taught them as they were growing, so we are able to learn together. They're not so qualified, but they're better.
Okay, they are trying at least.
Yeah.
And I can see we also have feedback. Someone is watching from Busia, and they're saying this is a very good session. Thank you for the awareness that you're creating. Alafu kuna mwingine anasema, naitwa Edwin Mnyasa, niko na miaka 29. Ni kijana wa mwisho katika familia ya watoto 4. Nililelewa na mzazi mmoja hadi nikamaliza shule ya upili mwaka wa 2013. Nikajiunga na jua kali hadi sai. Kuna vitu vingi nimepitia hadi naona ni kama akili imevurugika. Nimeona hii namba hii namba yenu ya KTN, nikaona niwatafute niwaongeleshe nione mtanisaidia aje. No, so this one wewe tutakusaidia kidogo tu Edwin. Right now let's help the deaf and understand and create awareness of this, but we'll help you, Edwin. Let's get back to Daktari in terms of mental health.
Yes.
You guys had an empowerment training that happened yesterday for the deaf moms. So what was your role when it came to this empowerment training?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So this was to enable the deaf moms to understand, we had the breastfeeding week.
Yes.
So we were sensitizing, enabling deaf mothers to get more awareness on how to do this, and as well as how to take care of their well-being, taking care of their wellness in the process of taking care of their children, so that they don't forget about themselves. This was very essential because most cases we forget moms after delivery. So just having that aspect of community, bringing them together for support, and also having peer-to-peer support. They're able to share their experiences as well as learn from, learning from each other and getting an opportunity to get to know what they are not aware of when it comes to them and how to take care of the baby, including during breastfeeding, that period of breastfeeding.
Okay.
Because most cases you realize, yes, we get the babies, but we don't get enough time even to be trained how to hold the baby, what the position to put the baby, and what that means, the connection between you and the baby as you breastfeed. So this was very essential for them, and also bringing them together so that they are able to build on each other and enable even the practitioners around to give in the information. Remember, we mentioned about information gap.
Yes.
So this was very essential to ensure that they are aware and getting to understand better on what is expected of them.
Okay.
Yes.
Judy, probably what other activities do you engage in when it comes to the deaf deaf moms? I know you were talking about you even do baby showers for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
We would say that most of the deaf mothers don't get to enjoy most of the pressures that the other mothers get, because like baby showers, most of the time we think that they're only for my friends who will help me organize and give me a surprise baby shower.
Yes.
But we do this for deaf moms so that it's more of a training. Some, maybe you may find that they have not gone to clinics. Maybe that's the first time they're hearing about delivery and what they expect, what to expect time when they're giving birth. So it is more of bringing medics together, doctors together, and they train them on what to expect. Also, the process of giving birth. And maybe, there are things that we are never prepared.
Yes.
I know if I'm expectant, chances of me when I go to the hospital, I go with an open mind. I may go home with the baby or not. There are those things that we are never taught. Or even a mom may go through some other challenges that time of giving birth, because a mother may be ready to give birth normally, then you realize, it has happened now, then it's an emergency, they need to go for a CS.
Yes.
Those small things that they're never really prepared. So these are the things we do. Then of course we give them a gift as a shower, just to show them love, because most of the times they are forgotten, I would say that, because very few people think about the deaf people in that way. So it's more of a training, it's more of a medical camp, but we call it a baby shower.
Wow.
We had our last one, we had about 20 deaf moms who were expectant in March. And also we had about 100 deaf moms who attended just to come and learn, who had babies below 5 years. So you realize even those who have already given birth, they also need a lot of information.
Okay. Hold that thought. Leo hii kizungu imekuwa ngumu, but we want to take highlights. A short commercial break. We are coming back.
Welcome home.
Baraza la vyombo vya habari la kashifu mashambulizi dhidi ya wanahabari wakati wa maandamano ya kizazi cha Gen Z. Rais William Ruto afanya ziara ya kwanza nchini Rwanda tangu kuanza kwa maandamano ya vijana wa Gen Z.
Tutakubali watu walipishwe hii barabara ya Dongo Kundu.
Viongozi wa Kwale wapinga pendekezo la serikali kutoza ada waendesha magari watakaotumia barabara ya Dongo Kundu.
Hakuna maendeleo tutafanya kama bado hatuna usalama katika jamii zetu. Na hii laana imebakia sisi tu wafugaji.
Na viongozi wa jamii za wafugaji kaunti za Isiolo, Marsabit na Samburu zatia saini mkataba wa amani baada ya miongo ya uhasama.
Welcome home.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, the conversation is about maternal and mental health for deaf moms. So I'm still joined by Judy, Nancy, and Lillian right here. The conversation is ongoing, and I know we have a question coming through that the topic is really encouraging, particularly talking about mental health challenges facing deaf mothers. Thank you for your initiative, Sister Judy. However, I have a question. What advice would you give to the government of Kenya in ensuring that the mental health for the deaf mothers is taken care of and given our vast health system? This is Francis Kerato from Kisumu. So probably information you'd give to the government in terms of advocacy. Yes.
I'd say first we should start from the very basics.
Yes.
Very basics is from the trainings, from colleges where we are training our medics, where we are training our healthcare practitioners, where we are training even the mental health experts.
Yeah.
Because that's where the gap is. Because the moment they understand from the beginning that as they go out, they're not meeting only the hearing people, they're meeting even the deaf people. And as I said, in this world, we have only two cultures, the deaf culture and the hearing culture, because all other disabilities may be around hearing people and or around the deaf people. So when you understand that it's not only the hearing people you are going to meet out there, they're also deaf people, and you understand their struggles, it's very easy for the government to put them in their policies, because most of the times the policies are made for the people who already, we can say this is a wide population, but we will not know the population we are leaving out until we are intentionally getting to them. So I'd say we start from the very basics. Very basics is training the healthcare practitioners, the experts, to know that, and putting the right policies.
Yes.
Having the right policies on place, so that even these deaf people know this is my right. I need to get this information, because most of the times they will be quiet, even the things that they need to be told. When you go to the hospital right now, you know your rights because you've been told.
Yeah.
For them, they have not had it. Remember, the deaf people get the information as the third people. If here we were to speak and you made a joke, you've made a joke there and we laughed. Before I explain to Lillian that why we have laughed, it will not be a joke to both of us. So imagine even the information they're getting from other people. Most of the times they're getting the wrong information or delayed information. So can we put them together? We bring the deaf people on the table. We have very many deaf people here who can be able to be advocates for others.
Yes.
They can work with the others. So I would say, yes, we bring them on board and work with them. And I think, Nancy, also from your angle, I know, having worked with us, you know what maybe you can add on top of that, what we need to ask the government to do.
Yeah, thank you, Judy. She has handled it quite well. And from the training perspective, I would also add into community mental health approach, whereby we need to look at the community level and the practitioners we have at the community level. We have the community health promoters who are currently under the government community health strategy. So if we train, educate them, grant them the information, they are able to, taking, and I know the initiative has already started, having them get trained more on the sign language and even on mental health, so that they are able to understand better the needs and the gaps, and then they are able to provide support at that level. We know we have champions like Lillian here, getting that ability also to understand more on mental health, where we are currently supporting them to know and understand what are some of the needs that they can enhance, so that they are able to support. At the facility level, looking at integration of mental health at the facility level, looking into the ANC and at the MNCH, or the maternal neonatal child care, ensuring that this is integrated. We have the mothers being screened, the mothers getting checked, and also including language interpreters, so that the deaf moms are not left out. So if the integration is done also at the facility level, they are not going to be left out. They are going to feel part of it, and in the process they will be having information, guided, and the support system, which is very essential. And this is what we are looking at, so that they are able to build their capacity all through during this period between conception, moving forward after delivery, and on. So this will be very essential, integration at community approaches, where we'll enhance more awareness and information, which is very key for every mom, including the deaf mom.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
And are there points whereby the deaf moms also have probably anxiety that my child will also be deaf? Can it happen?
Yeah, sure. And because remember, they are working from unknown. Because I talk of unknown because already they don't have a lot of information concerning this journey. they don't at some point, at some level, get access to this information.
Yeah.
So you find due to that uncertainty, they have anxiety. They're not sure whether their baby will ever talk.
Yes.
So they're still unsure, they don't know the future concerning the well-being of the child. But through the process of support, continuous support, information giving, they'll be able now to work on this step by step.
Yeah. Judy,
Yes.
are there moms who come to you with challenges of probably their kids having delayed milestones?
Yes, they have. We also have some deaf moms who have children with disabilities.
Okay.
And it's a very big challenge for them. If it's the child becomes deaf, they don't really worry so much compared to if they get other disabilities. Because when a child becomes deaf or a child is deaf, which is a very rare case, I would say 99% of deaf people give birth to hearing children.
Okay.
And unlike America, where I would say they love the hierarchy of deafness, so they're okay. Actually, they prefer when if a deaf couple gets a deaf child, to them they feel better than the other way around, because it's continuation. But for us here, I have seen there's that anxiety, yes, but also what they fear most is if their children get other disabilities. In my team, I have 3 moms who have children with disabilities, and it's a struggle, and especially when it's a mental, because 2 have mental disabilities.
Okay.
It's a challenge for them, because remember, communication it's a challenge. And again, now trying to communicate with the child with a mental disability, it becomes very hard for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And probably any last words that Lillian has for us?
Most of the time she's saying, because of children with disability, most of the time because of communication gaps, the communication is not good. Sometimes the mom don't know whether they want food or what they want. So it brings anxiety to them. They don't know when the child is happy or when the child is not happy because of communication barrier. Sometimes the child will be frustrated, go fighting other children. You don't understand what exactly the need is. It's a real struggle for the parents especially. And sometimes they feel like they are oppressed. They feel like they are oppressing them, but they're looking for the betterment of their children.
Okay.
And so they love when they go to school, so that they can continue learning. Or because even in the hospital, sometimes they don't understand. If I take my baby to the hospital, I don't know what the challenge is.
Yeah, you can't even express what the baby is suffering from.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell her she's really doing a good job. A good job for the advocacy, for the training. You're also doing a good job, Judy, with organization. And thank you for supporting them in terms of mental health.
Yes.
It is crucial. Definitely
Yes.
it is very crucial.
Yes,
And your role cannot
indeed.
be underestimated.
Yes.
So we're really grateful. Judy, as we wind up, probably let people know where they can find you and come and seek help. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a challenge. Yeah. Sorry.
I would say we are here in Nairobi, but we are creating communities within the counties.
Yes.
So we will be rolling out to different counties. Maybe what I would give is our contact. Maybe the people can get us through our social media handles. In all our social medias, we are Talking Hands, Listening Eyes. Where if you reach out through the social medias, it's easier to tell them where we are, because we have people who have called us from different counties far and wide. So it's a bit hard to tell them to come to Nairobi, but we are breaking to the counties.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Nancy, and you, where can we find you?
Yes, for Nancy, you find me, my office is at Kilimani, called Top Wellness Africa Limited. What you do is more of mental health services, and you can also on social media handles, you're able to get our contact and reach out to us.
Okay,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. Thank you also to Lillian, and thank you guys for watching. I hope this has been insightful. Until next weekend, remember this is Health and Wellness. My name is Zaitun Ali. Catch it on YouTube at KTN Home. See you.